So right now, I just walked this road from there. Pool of Siloam is back there, and I'm just walking this way. Where we are, you can actually see the Temple Mount up there. So we're in the valley, and this will be the Kidron Valley. But the city of David is right above us. So the city of David is kind of like call it an offshoot of the old city. And somewhere along here, I don't think this is the exact spot, but there's a palace of David, I think, potentially. So we're just gonna walk along here and hopefully get in at the end and walk the Kidron Valley. As we turn this corner, you can start to see the southeast corner of the Temple Mount. And again, up there is what's known as the city of David. All right, we're continuing here. I turned it off when I passed that checkpoint there. I figured I'd just not have a video going. But we are now able to enter the Kidron Valley. You can see, so there's a Temple Mount. You can see how this is a natural defense. You can see why this was a great place for a city. Not only was it a great place for a city, it had a spring built into it. Just being here, seeing just exactly how steep it is and what you'd have to do to conquer this. I mean, let's just call it an uphill battle. That's the other side. And then coming up to the right, straight ahead, that's the beginnings of Mount of Olives. And again, there's a Temple Mount. So this Kidron Valley sits in between the Temple Mount and the Mount of Olives. It seems like it's even more steep as we approach the actual walls of the old city, Jerusalem. There's a whole lot of people buried or entombed or laid to rest on the Mount of Olives. If you see it from a higher up vantage point, all those areas with retaining walls and fences are full of graves. There's some tombs coming up, some more famous tombs. One of them is Zechariah. It's one of these up here. I believe it's the one on the left. Also, so that monument looks almost the same as Absalom's tomb, but it's not. Absalom's is over there by that tree. But also buried here is, oh, I was right. Zechariah's tomb is that one right there. Also buried here is Jehoshaphat. So this is named the Valley of Jehoshaphat. It's still officially named the Kidron Valley, but that's because he's buried here. It's common enough that it's known to be the same valley. So I think this is it's even higher up from here to get to the Temple Mount, to get to, the old city. So again, the defenses of this place, you may not be able to really appreciate it. So you're here. Here's a look at where we came from. And now you can see some more, see higher up and see those graves on the Mount of Olives. Why don't we go up to the Zechariah's tomb? No one's here. Oh, I passed it. We may not be able to get all the way up there. You can see some. This is Zechariah's tomb. And it faces a temple. There it is, the grave of Jehoshaphat, or Yehoshaphat. I believe it's the one back there. Take a look. Clearly they made some holes in Absalom's tomb, looking for something probably. That's pretty much it for the Kidron Valley tour. We can now see the northeast corner of the Temple Mount way up there. There's the other end. Oh, not sure what this is. We'll exit over there and go back up. The Garden of Gethsemane is right over there. Maybe we should just keep going. Now, where we just walked, this is interesting because, okay, that's Orient. That's the Temple Mount. That's part of the old city of Jerusalem. On the opposite side, so on the west side of this, is the old city. That's where it's believed that the upper room where they had the Last Supper took place. And in Mark 14 it talks about they, after they ate, they sang a hymn, and then there's a scripture that just says they went to the Garden of Gethsemane, which is over there. So imagine what we just walked plus some more, and then just almost casually in scripture says, and they walked to the Garden of Gethsemane. Well, that took a while. And it was, I believe, at night, probably. Maybe we'll just go up far enough to see the garden. I mean, if I had to guess which route Jesus and the disciples took to get to Gethsemane, it'd be either the one we took, or, they went through the city, maybe out the Lion's Gate over here or something, and then crossed over there. But somehow they got from back before we started to Gethsemane. That's what scripture says. That's the eastern gate. Scriptures talk about when Jesus comes back, his feet will touch the Mount of Olives, which is right there. And you can see it's right across from the eastern gate. You can see it's all not boarded up, it's stoned up, it's cemented up. They didn't, I believe it was I don't know which group, maybe a Muslim group that conquered at one point. They wanted to make sure Jesus would not enter through the eastern gate, so they just cemented it up. Problem solved. This doesn't look too promising. I don't think the Garden of Gethsemane is open, but it is just to the left of this church. There's even some more graves down there. So from here you can pretty much see the entire span of the Temple Mount. That little pointy roof, that was Absalom's tomb. We walked in between the valley there. That's the Kidron Valley, the Valley of Decision, or Valley of Jehoshaphat. So we'll see how far we can get into Gethsemane. I don't know if I can just try the door or what. I doubt it. Might be a place I can get a better shot. Look both ways for cars. At least you can see the corner of the garden here. There's an entrance into it. There you go. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. There's people in there, so someone can get in. I didn't see anybody up front, so I didn't think it was open to anyone. Well, here's entry. There's no entering there. Here we go. There we go. We made it to the Garden of Gethsemane. I think I want to avoid that way. There's a tour group over there. Oh, the word peace is spelled out in stone. I think that's been done since Jesus' days. Just a guess. All right, we made it to the Garden of Gethsemane, just like Jesus and the disciples did. If you want to read the rest of the story, You can read it for yourself. We'll just end. There we go. We'll end on the eastern gate. The sunset.